But then in 5th grade, I also started learning Latin. Then I started learning French in 7th grade. Then my next language was Italian. But then this is the interesting stuff. I decided I want to learn Swedish. Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's Wednesday morning. It's 9:15 a.m. We're on our way to campus and we're just going through a what is it called? Slow zone. Yeah, because there's construction. But I want to tell you guys about how I learned all my languages. I'm a PhD student in second language studies at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I'm in my 4th year right now, and I know I've learned 7 languages, but I don't speak all of them. So yeah, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what the differences are, why I learned, or why I think I learned some of them well and some not. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me. You can follow me on Instagram, send me a DM there, or yeah, just put anything in the comments. So I'm from Germany, so German is my native language and my first language, and I grew up speaking German only until about 4 years ago or 5 years ago when I moved to the US. So we don't speak English in Germany except in schools where we learn it, obviously. But lots of people always ask me if we speak English in Germany in any situation, but we don't. So in Germany you start learning, or at my age you used to start learning English in 3rd grade, but that class is more, you learn animal names and color terms, so that's not really English learning. So I wouldn't say I took much from that. Bless you.
Thank you.
Then I started our high school in 5th grade. We were only in one school from 5th to 12th grade, and there I picked this bilingual track, which meant that I had 1 hour more of English class in 5th grade, and after that I would start on bless you.
Thank you.
Having science subjects also in English. But they were also taught by German teachers. They weren't that fluent in English, so even though I think it helped a lot, I don't think after that I was fluent or close to fluent at all. I went on to learn English, to study English in university, and that's where I started speaking English more often, just all throughout classes. And yeah, after that I went to move to the US. But my other languages, and obviously English is my best language, best second language now because I live in the US, and oof, that's a little bumpy.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, because I live here, because I use it every day, and because I've studied it for the longest. But then in 5th grade, actually, I also started learning Latin. But if you've taken Latin classes, they are not meant to get you to speak Latin. So what we did mostly was just translating some Latin texts. And I was okay at that. Not the best, not the worst. I learned a lot about grammar, also about my own grammar, about English grammar. But that didn't make me speak any language at all. If at all, it made me, have a sense for romantic languages?
Or
Roman languages. I don't know. Italian, Spanish, French, all of those languages. Because Latin was kind of the preceder, the thing that came before, the language that came before. So many languages still use the same vocabulary or similar vocabulary. So I know, or that helped me in that sense, but not in any other sense really. Then I started learning French in 7th grade, I believe. And I was terrible at French. It was not my subject at all. I think I had a D every single semester. Now I can say je m'appelle and je suis. To be honest, I don't even know if people ever say that. I know nothing in French. If I see it written, I can maybe sometimes figure out what it's supposed to mean. That's it. I took it all the way throughout, I think 10th or 11th grade. I think 11. Still had a D. I guess I was writing actual texts, actual analyses of texts in French. They weren't good, so I don't know. Didn't work out. Then my next language was Italian, which I started in 10th grade. And I was really excited about Italian for some reason. I just liked the language a lot. So I was a lot better at that. I think I had an A at least.
Bumpy.
Class was pretty similar. You know, language classes in Germany are just, they speak to you the language you're learning for the most part. Maybe there's some German to help you with grammar. You have some grammar exercises, some speaking exercises, and you move on pretty early to, you know, what you guys do or what you do in English class in the US, where you analyze texts, talk about literature in that language, or
give presentations, something like that?
Yeah, give presentations. I don't know if we had too many actually. But yeah, just also learn a little bit about the country of the language that you're learning. But I wouldn't say I speak any Italian now. I even took, I think, a semester of classes after graduating high school because I was really excited to keep learning it. So I took some adult classes, which was kind of funny. It was people of all ages, and I don't know, it was an experience. That was only grammar exercises. That didn't help me at all. So, and I had to pay for it. I think my parents paid like €100 for me to go to those classes because they're for adults and not part of your actual schooling. Yeah, that was not worth it. So I stopped that, don't know any Italian now. Maybe a tiny bit more than French. Maybe my reading is a tiny bit better, but yeah, that's it. We're on campus, by the way, already.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still gonna take some time to find parking. But then, this is the interesting stuff. After graduating high school, I decided I want to learn Swedish because I kind of just liked the culture, the country, and the language. So I started downloading this app that let me just look at different phrases, different Swedish phrases, and it had those tests where they would just take out one letter in the phrase or two letters in the phrase, or I guess another level would be taking out a word in the phrase. And none of that makes actual sense because you're really just memorizing the phrases. But for some reason, I thought that was the most fun game to play. So I played it all the time on my way to school, on the train. Yeah, just filling in the random letters that I was supposed to put in. I think that helped me a lot memorizing phrases. And then because I had all that, you know, experience with learning other languages, I was pretty good at picking out like grammar things from those phrases just by, oh my gosh, it's crowded. It's crowded. Yeah, just by knowing how Germanic languages work, I could tell, okay, this must be a subject, this must be a verb, or this must be part of the verb, this must be different than what we have in English, than what we have in German. So, we're going through where the parking attendant is. So yeah, I think just the fact that I could do all of that by myself really helped me because obviously everything you figure out yourself, you remember a lot better than what someone just randomly tells you. So that's why my Swedish grammar is even a lot better than my Italian and French, because those I only learned in school. And then I started watching Swedish TV and listening to Swedish radio, listening to Swedish music. And Swedish TV and radio is actually free for everyone, I believe, online. So I watched a lot of that. Watched a lot of TV shows. It's dark.
Oh.
We're in the parking garage. And yeah, that just really helped me a lot. It's okay now, I think. Thank you. It really helped me a lot. I was binge watching those. And I could tell that as I came out of like 5 hours of watching this TV show, I could catch myself saying Swedish phrases in my head, or just like talking to the characters, or talking about the characters, or talking about what happened in my head, using the same phrases they were using randomly, which I thought was crazy. But yeah, I really thought I'm a crazy person by then. But it helped my language learning a lot. And when I was learning Spanish, which is only maybe 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I started, I skipped the whole grammar and vocabulary and memorizing part and directly went into watching TV shows. I watched Vampire Diaries, which I've seen before though, so that helped because I kind of knew what it was about. But yeah, when I started watching it, I knew not a single word of Spanish. But that also went okay, and I started picking up more and more words. We really watched a lot.
Yeah.
Several seasons of several shows. And yeah, I think my Spanish understanding is pretty good. I read an actual book in Spanish recently.
Yeah.
The Spy by Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
So yeah, at least it was good enough to read an actual book. It took me a while to read all of it, and yeah, maybe currently my best third language could be Spanish. The only thing about Spanish and Swedish is that I can't really speak it well because I've never ever spoken it. So those are the difficult things about learning like that, learning from watching TV. So if you're looking to learn a language, you definitely need to eventually go and talk to other people. I actually do have a Swedish friend who I used to send voice messages to in Swedish, and he did say he can understand me. But I would need a lot more of that to actually say that I, can speak it. But yeah, definitely Spanish and Swedish are a lot better than French and Italian, which I don't remember anything of. But yeah, that's all the languages I know.
Maybe you can tell them that your Spanish is better than my 4 or 5 years of it.
Yeah, I guess Alexus had Spanish classes in high school and college.
Yeah.
Which is probably similar to my Italian and French classes in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, none of that works.
No, now we're at the same level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you want to say that because I don't know how well you can hear me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Alexus just said now we're at the same level, even though she took actual classes in an actual program, and it was for 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, our Spanish is at the same level, even though it took me like 2 years, and probably it was even a year ago of just doing TV watching.
Yeah, it's a bit more passive too.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like studying, which is a lot better. Yeah, common misunderstanding is that learning has to hurt. People think it's not learning, or you're not studying, or you're not learning anything if you're not bringing or pushing yourself, which obviously is complete nonsense. And maybe that's just what we think because we went to school and that was pushing ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. We're at school now. I'm going to show you a tiny bit of campus, but I'm going to say bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want me to tell you anything more. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
You have class at 10:30?
Yeah.
It's a nice day.